Well, a very good evening, everybody.
Good evening. This is so new. We never do our show during this time.
We never do. We
No.
usually do it Tuesdays 3 to 4, but welcome to E Squared.
E Squared, the second E Squared of the week for the very first time.
We have a reason why we're on this late
Oh, yes,
and on
we
a
do.
different day.
What's the reason, Emily?
We have to welcome somebody very special in the studio.
Oh, yes.
In person. So, we should do this right now.
Yep.
Please welcome to the studio, Stephen Kramer Glickman.
Hey, what is going on? Thanks so much for having me in after our show tonight. It was, I just felt like I just wanted to hop on, just keep talking and hanging out with you guys.
Oh my gosh, thank you for being here with
Thank
us
you.
tonight. This is super crazy for us. And of course we can't skip out on our Big Time Rush song, our usual Big Time Rush song.
No, yeah, are you
No,
crazy?
of course.
We're going to do a very, very, very special Big Time Rush Song of the Week Part 2.
Yep.
Love it.
And this song was picked out by our very special guest. So please join us as we listen to Count on You by Big Time Rush, picked out by Stephen Kramer Glickman. And that was Count on You by Big Time Rush.
Welcome back to E Squared, everyone. If you're listening right now, it's a very, very special edition of our show because we are here live and in person with Stephen Kramer Glickman.
Whoa. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Of course, thank you for being
Thank
here.
you so much.
Of course.
We just got to watch Stephen give an amazing performance at Pollock Theater. Some stories, some songs. It was just a great time.
It was a really beautiful show. I got to be honest. Like sometimes you put together a show and you're just always hoping that it's gonna like go well, and it's gonna be cool, and the audience is gonna be like into it and the whole bit. And man, they were just down. They were just down for it the whole time. It just made me so happy.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
And when everyone put out their phone flashlights, that's when you know it's real.
Oh, that was pretty intense. That was a great moment for sure.
That was so good.
I gotta admit, like, I can't even think right now, like the new Billie Eilish song you did. Like, I can't think of the cover right. I can't think of the name right now, but
Oh, what was I made for?
yes, tears were down my face. I was not okay.
It was a very emotional moment. I actually have a question for you.
Sure, yeah.
Are you like a big Billie Eilish fan? Because I noticed that you have some covers from her songs on your album.
Yeah, I did 2 covers of her on the first album. It just, it was one of those weird things. It's just such a strange thing. But like, when the party's over, I would sing through that song. Like when it came out, I would sit at the piano and people would request, oh, you should sing a Billie Eilish song. And I people used to give me, like, make jokes and stuff a lot that Billie Eilish was stealing my wardrobe from Big Time Rush and like they would do that with me and DJ Khaled and me and Billie Eilish, and they'd pair pictures up of us. And so like I started listening to some of her stuff, and then that song, When the Party's Over, I would sing that song, and I couldn't make it through the song without getting emotional. It just wrecked me. And I was like, okay, well, if this is kicking my ass emotionally, then I gotta learn it, and I gotta do it, and I gotta put it out. And then release the song. And then Hard Rock Cafe heard the song. Hard Rock was like, oh, we should do a music video with you for this for Halloween. And so then they provided this whole thing, and I got to partner up with them and make this really crazy music video for it, where I tear my entire face off of my body.
Whoa.
And it's just, I have this like fleshy, like muscle head underneath. It's terrifying. But it was just one of a few times where I've gotten to partner up with companies. Like I got to do a little thing with HBO on a video, and I've gotten to work with a liquor company. I just worked with them on Montero, my Call Me by Your Name, that cover, and that was like a big country western cover. It's very weird. I just really like playing around with different types of stuff, but Billie always comes back. It's like.
Yeah.
I'll think like, oh, well, this is the last one of hers like I would want to do, and then the next something comes out and you're like, damn it, this is a hot song. This is what was I made for is amazing, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it speaks to so many people. Like, you see it on TikTok all the time where people are like, oh, I'm healing my childhood, or this song, it speaks to me in such a way. And just when you, like, hear those, like, really soft chords and the lyrics, it's just, Billie Eilish is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She knows heartbreak. She knows how to write heartbreak really, really well.
Yeah.
You know, my little sister is a singer-songwriter and at a record label, and she has toured all over the world and stuff. And she did a song called "Don't Let Me Get Away," which I covered on my album, and it's right up there. It's like it's right along equally with the Eilish stuff. So if you get a chance to take a listen to that.
Oh, absolutely.
It's pretty badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were just like as we were saying, you just had your show here, and you shared stories, songs, and like one thing that I was like definitely like thinking about, like, what made you decide to go to colleges to perform, like, and like, you know, like tell your stories and tell your songs, like what was behind that?
Well, like when I was this is the truth. This is 100% the truth. When the album was coming out, I was getting interviewed by like a lot of different people, a lot of places, and one of them was Ohio University. So Ohio University reaches out. They're like, we want to do an interview with you, right? So I'm like on this phone call with this lady, and she's writing an article, you know, interviewing me. And in the interview, she goes, "What's next for you?" And I go, "I'm going to go on tour." I did not have a plan for a tour, but I just said that. I was like, I'm going to go on a tour. I'm going to go perform on a tour. She was like, where are you going to perform at? And I was like, everywhere, just all over. It's going to be really cool. It's going to be awesome. I'm just going to go and make a tour. And then she was like, you should come to Ohio University. And I was like, oh, I would, but I'm like really expensive. I'm really expensive. And she was like, well, we have a lot of money. We're a gigantic university. And I was like, okay. And then we got off the interview, and she was like, how much do you need to come here? And I was like, a bunch of money. I was like, I didn't freaking know what you're supposed to ask for, so I asked for a big number, thinking there was no way she was going to give it. And she was like, yep, done.
Oh, wow.
And I booked that. I brought Marza Wilkes with me, who is the cellist for like Bjork and like has performed with Radiohead and all these amazing people. So I brought her with me to Ohio. We did that show together, me at a piano with her, and it was great. And then University of Puget Sound saw it, and they were like, hey, you should come out here and do Puget Sound. So I did that show with Soren. I brought him, my guitarist, and that went great. And then I met my manager, and he was like, who's booking these tour shows for you? And I was like, me? And he was like, not anymore. And he called Innovative Artist Agency and talked to their touring department, and he was like, you need to meet Stephen. And they signed me like 2 days later. And I've been on tour ever since. Like, it was kind of like willing something into existence a little bit, or like faking it till you're making it a little bit. But, you know, I just really wanted to do. I knew that my audience from Big Time Rush was in university. Like, I know that you guys are in college. Mm-hmm. So this is a perfect example of like why I have to be out doing the shows that I'm doing. Like, it just feels great. It's like, feels like you're like doing the right thing at the right time, you know, which is sometimes that's not the case. You know, sometimes you're just like, oh, I'm really forcing this to happen. Other times, you know, it's nice and it like works. So yeah, I love it. I love performing at universities. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And like the demographic, it just falls into place so perfectly because there's so many people like around our age who they love you. They're like, oh my gosh, it's Gustavo. I mean, I know we mentioned it to you before, but you know, everyone at the school was just so hyped about this, and it's just crazy how receptive it is.
Yeah. That meet and greet was 2 hours long.
I know.
Holy
my gosh.
crap.
Everyone was really committed. That was amazing.
And the Q&A, you guys did a great job leading that Q&A.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you.
It was also, but like that in that Q&A, there were some moments where I was like, oh my God, like I got like at least four song requests during that, and questions. But it was like they were throwing things out left and right, and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. It was so much fun. I loved it. I want to do it again tomorrow. I want to do more. It was so much fun.
I mean, we would love to have you back at some point. If you ever swing back around,
hell yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Absolutely, for sure. Well, it's nice to know. Like now, if I come to do a show in New Jersey, I'll swing by here and we'll talk about it, and get people out. That'd be so fun. Yeah, loved it.
So what do you think you have learned about yourself or about performing by doing college shows? Because I don't think it's a very common thing for people to tour around and do college shows. It's just a very unique experience. It's a unique kind of age group. Sometimes it's hard to get college kids to do things, but a lot of people came out today. So what have you just kind of learned from this process of building these tours?
The thing that I've learned is that people all over the country, because I've been from the West Coast now all the way to the East Coast doing shows. Your age group, how old are you?
21.
So I'd say from 18 to about 25 is my demo right now. That you guys, and I'm saying you guys like in a very general sense, but are like the most open-minded, receptive, honest, kind, age group of people I have had the time. Just everyone is so freaking nice and respectful, and it's just different because I'll give you an example. I've in LA we have these things called teen tours where you perform stand up at the Hollywood Improv. All the comedians do it at some point. You perform for teenagers, and teenagers sit in the audience, and you have to do stand up for 15-year-olds, and it is a nightmare. A nightmare. And it's so hard to do those shows. It is the and then I've done shows for people in their 30s and stuff where they're everyone's at a bar, or these giant clubs. We did a show in LA called the Bourbon Room, and it was great club, but everyone's drinking, and people are yelling, they want this song or they want that, and they get real into it. They sing along, and sometimes they're off tune and crazy. This the college age group right now is very accepting and cool, and not they don't. I never feel like I'm putting myself in a bad position. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's because you have to get sensitive sometimes and talk about sensitive type stuff. I mean, I'm not doing stand up for colleges, but I'm doing comedy and music, telling funny stories, and I'm singing some funny songs, and that's or some fun songs,
Yeah.
But I'm not really doing anything that's I'm not getting up on stage and talking about politics and stuff like that, which I think would be way harder to do.
Yeah.
I just think that.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah.
I mean, I've been doing stand up in LA for 20 years, and I love doing stand up. But I would not want to do stand-up at universities because I don't want to all my stuff is so self-deprecating, and it's mostly storytelling. So I'd rather do what I'm doing now, which is kind of like a little bit of stand-up,
Yeah.
Yeah, I made a couple jokes about my ex-girlfriend during the show, and that got some good laughs. And that was kind of, or I made a joke where I said a lot of people ask me, how do I get to where you are in your career? And I was like, well, first have a father that doesn't love you.
Yeah.
And it was that response got such a oh my God, And I was that's as far into stand up as I want to be doing on stage.
It's It's like, and that's where the threshold is. All right.
Right, right. I can feel it sometimes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow! But I mean, it was just amazing hearing like all the insight from your crazy career, and then tying it into these beautiful renditions of songs, and your piano playing is just beautiful. And your musicians that you had with you, like what a group!
Yeah,
it was really great.
Thank you so much. That means so much to me.
No problem.
It was fun.
It was. Do you have anything else you would like to say?
I wrote it down because like I was thinking about this. So like as college students, like when the show Big Time Rush, like the show you were on as Gustavo Rock came out, like we were like 8, 9, 10 years old. But like how does it feel going to colleges and seeing so many people like now growing up, like Elena and I, like still appreciate you as much as they did, or even like more than they first saw you on Big Time Rush years ago? Like how does that feel for you?
You know, it's like a legacy, kind of thing. Years ago, when I was working on Shrek the musical, this is a long time ago. At the end of Shrek, it was between Shrek and Big Time Rush. I got cast on Big Time Rush, and I was going to head back to LA to go do it. But before I did it, I ended up getting to spend a night hanging out backstage with Bob Saget, who from Full House. Bob was starring in a show called The Drowsy Chaperone on Broadway, and he invited me to come spend the night with him, hanging out, watching him perform the show, and then get to hang out in the dressing room. And he was such an incredibly sweet and lovely person, and we were sitting together in the dressing room talking, and I was like, I got asked to do this Nickelodeon show, and I'm gonna go do that. And he was like, Stephen, you're gonna have an amazing time doing that show, but here's the thing, is you now have a responsibility for the rest of your life to be basically like a good person who tries to be a good person out in the world and in private. Always try to lead like with your best self and make people. And he's like, I'm not saying, you shouldn't do, just, have fun and like, do whatever you want to do, but also you have a responsibility now with this show and how it's going to affect, because you're going to be part of people's childhoods and you don't want to ruin that. So just do whatever you can to not ruin it and try to like be the person they want you to be, but also be yourself at the same time, right? Because he was a dirty stand-up comedian.
Oh yeah,
filthy, So he was like, you can do both. You just kind of have to be, be this person that you would want to be if you were a kid and you grew up and you ran into someone that you were a fan of when you were a kid. You'd want them to be cool, and nice and whatever. So I kind of took that to heart, and when you get a chance to go to a college and get to like see you guys all grown up, it's so crazy, and it's also so cool because I get to see you guys at this point, but then there's going to be a point in like a few years from now where the two of you guys are hosting some giant show for MTV or for I almost said VH1 because I'm old, but like some great show. You'll be on 91X or something like this, and it'll be like this amazing thing, and you'll be like, hey, remember me? And it'll be this great moment, and I've had that moment a few times. Most recently with TSA agents, where I was walking through TSA and then I made it to the other side, and then I heard one of them go, yeah, Gustavo, you're my childhood. And I turned around and it was like 7 TSA agents that were all excited, and we all took pictures together. But that's what it's all about. Like that's how I would be if I ran into people that I grew up with,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I love it.
Oh.
I love it.
Well, we definitely loved having you here tonight.
Yeah.
This is, a night that I will never forget. This experience. Just thank you so much for being here in the studio, for being here at Monmouth. We really appreciate it, and yeah, I'm at a loss for words. I'm very grateful.
Yeah,
I had a great time. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, it's just like we didn't know, like coming from me, like when we found out that you said like, oh, when can I be on your show? And like this was in April.
Like months ago.
Yeah. And then, you know, like, we were talking to you, and then we didn't know you were already at the school. And just, like, going from, like, already hired to go to the school, and just going from that to where we are now, it's just, like, it's just like I'm at a loss for words, and like I'm gonna sound like a fangirl right now. Like, you don't know how much this means. Like, it's not just like a radio show. It's just like you've like touched us seriously.
Oh God, thank you so much for saying that. That means a lot.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
You know, I have a podcast I've been doing 5 years with a bunch of my friends, and like we've had people on the show that I grew up being like, I can't believe that we're getting to like spend time with these people, you know, sit across from them and have conversations and all that kind of stuff. And it always makes me happy every time that happens, you know, but now it's nice to be on the other side of that too and be here for you guys. You guys are so cool.
Oh, thank
you did a great job.
You.
This is awesome. And I love your show. I think you guys do a great job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Keep on rocking it. Keep on doing it.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, it is getting late, and I guess we have to wrap things up now, but we want to thank you again for being here with us today.
Hell yeah.
This was a crazy day. You keep rocking. Keep doing what you're doing, because you're inspiring a lot of people.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Definitely inspired me today. Definitely inspired Elena. Not to talk for you, but like, it's just...
Yeah, high five.
Yeah, high five.
Hell yeah.
Air
Great.
five.
Air five.
I'm on the other side right here.
I love it.
Well,
yeah.
oh.
No, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, I was going to thank anyone who might be listening right now. I know we posted some quick things on Instagram. I know I threw something on TikTok. So if you're here right now listening live, thank you for listening last minute. This has just been so crazy. And yeah, I mean, we'll see you all on Tuesday from 3 to 4 for more E Squared.
Yes.
Yeah.
See you on Tuesday. Thank you so much again, Stephen.
Thank you.
Of course. Thanks again for having me.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Have a safe flight.
Yeah.
And yes, to everybody that's listening, thank you again. Have a good night, and we'll see you Tuesday.